Alrighty, quick sound check for everyone online. Just want to make sure you can join.
Yes, can hear you.
Oh, you can hear us. It's still very loud in here. Awesome. I love the thumbs up. Cool. I do need to get a better smile when taking awkward selfies. Okay, cool. We're gonna get started. I'm gonna start with my mom voice now. It's building up. I wish I could do that. Do you have a little thing I can use? Okay, cool. Everyone, we're gonna get started. Sorry to I'm sure everyone is super happy to see new faces and old faces and catching up. Everyone who's got stuck in traffic this afternoon, I'm really sorry. We don't really plan our calendar around the mining in Durban generally. Mostly just school holidays. So I'm really sorry if you had the worst time getting here. But yeah, thank you guys for joining us. We're very excited about the year ahead. We've got a really nice online audience as well. Right. Agenda for tonight. Let's get the good stuff to work. Yeah, welcome. We'll go through a couple of things in terms of welcoming everyone. We've got a vision for the year that we would love to share. We'll share some interesting upcoming events, and then I'll hand over to Doug. He's going to talk about Snowflake Build, and then yeah, we're handing over to Quentin. He's going to be talking us through some of what their team is doing at Bash. We'll always have a quiz. The prizes are there. The first prize is a really cool stainless steel bottle. You definitely want that. And then we'll have some more snacks, drinks afterwards. So online, guys, there's some questions for you so we can figure out where you are and where else we can launch an in-person get-together. So yeah, just about the user group. I don't know who's here for the first time. Maybe you can just put your hand up. Don't be shy. It's not a shame. Cool. Okay, that's awesome. What is it? The Snowflake user group. It's a community event. We're weirdly nerdy and obsessed with community events. So it's where we bring people together to talk about best practices, look at Snowflake use cases, methodologies, and yeah, different clients present different things. Sometimes it's technical, sometimes it's more business oriented. But yeah, I think we try and make sure that there's variety for everyone to kind of take something home. Growing your professional network, I think, yeah, we always say the world is small, but Cape Town's even smaller. So we often run into each other in weird places. And so it's a great way to connect and see other data people in the community. And it's about staying current. We just had a conversation now about how quickly things change and when you've got a roadmap and you've got stuff to do on Snowflake, actually staying up to date with what they're changing and releasing is important because they change often and it's generally improved. So yeah, it's making sure that you actually stay current with the technology that innovates really quickly. We're the chapter leaders. Hi, I'm Riza, for everyone who's new. And Douglas is the other chapter leader. We're both directors of a company called Data Lab Solutions. And just a little bit of bragging, he is officially the first Snowflake data superhero in South Africa. And that's awesome. Cool. Call for speakers. So it is yeah, part of our like job to make sure that interesting things are presented. But we're very much like we want the community to like get involved, present. It doesn't have to always be like a 40-minute like story about your company. Like if you've got something, other ideas, something cool that you've like POC'd and you want to bring it here, then yeah, it's great for people to contribute. Whether it's case studies, success stories, interesting, innovative use cases, best practices, lessons learned. I think we don't often speak about lessons learned enough because everyone wants to be the person who's done it right. But like there's a lot to learn from people who's made the mistakes. So that's also great. Joining the chapter, I'm hopefully like most of you are part of the chapter. But yeah, there's a QR code in case you're not. Our local chapter is called South Africa, and we're part of the Europe and Middle East region. So yeah, the user group vision. We've made some promises and we hope that you guys will help us get there. Hello, someone online wants to say something. No, stop. Mute. Okay, I found the person. So the vision for 2026 is we want to grow like the South African membership to 1,000 members by the end of the year. We want to see like 100 people like regularly attending these sessions in person, and then another 100 online would be amazing. We hope to like start doing regular user group in 2 locations. So I think Cape Town has been quite successful, but like, yeah, I think expanding into South Africa is definitely part of the plan. We want to commit to doing 10 awesome events because no one attends anything in January and December. And we have made sure that someone will pay for 2 awesome after parties this year. So we'll keep you posted. And so that's the plan for the year. And yeah, in terms of membership, this is where we started. Like we created the group back in April 2023. It took a really long time, like a year to 2 years by the looks of that, to just build like a little bit of momentum. And yeah, since late last year, we've been seeing like great growth. I don't know if you can see light blue and dark blue, but the dark blue is the target, guys. You need to help her. Cool. Then upcoming events. We said we'll commit to have 10 events and we are going to try and make them great, and we'll try and make sure that there's variation in what is being presented, whether it's domain or like workload or use case, but make sure that it's different things that we're talking about. So the next user group is going to be Makuru's team, and they're going to be talking about like an interesting approach to campaign analytics. And we still need to confirm this, but I think data collaboration is such a like great opportunity, especially in South Africa, and a lot of businesses are doing it yet. And so we're going to try and find like a real great customer story to look at in the data collaboration space. And then it's all open from there. So if you've got cool things to come present, or if you know of anyone that's doing something that you think is like worth sharing with the community, then please do let us know. And now I'm hoping everyone can get the phones out because this will shock Jandy. And I would love to shock her right now. So Data for Breakfast is coming up on the 24th of March in Cape Town. No, in Joburg. Make sure you scan the right one. And 26th of March in Cape Town. It's at the one and only hotel. It's going to be great. So please make sure you get on the waiting list. They put you on the waiting list first, and then they might like put you on the registration list. So make sure you just get on the list. Okay, everyone on the list. Great. And yeah, I think I hand over to Douglas talk about some things, some Snowflake build stuff.
Cool. Thank you very much. I just want to say, like, the data superhero thing, okay? Like the data superhero thing, they award it to people for their like commitment to community. So it's only by the fact that we do these things that you get the opportunity to be a data superhero. So it's actually a credit to everybody that comes to the user groups, that helps run the user groups, who comes and stands up here on stage, that gives us the ability to say that, cool, we run user groups and we're doing a really good job. So it's actually a credit to everybody that's come over the last like 12, 14 months to the user groups, that gives us the opportunity to say, think about us as a data superhero. So thank you very much. I'm not going to spend a lot of time because I've seen Quinton's presentation and I'm really looking forward to what he has to say rather than listening to my voice. So I'm just going to like use this opportunity to share with you loads of cool stuff that was released at Snowflake Build in London about a month ago, or in the last couple of weeks. For me, I've organized them into two kind of themes. One around developer productivity, which I think is really cool. And the other one is really about kind of the AI and kind of ML features that they're enhancing. At the end of this, I'll share, keep your cameras out because there's QR codes everywhere. At the end of this, I'll share like the QR code to the YouTube video, which is the actual kind of keynote speech. And it's just worth keeping up to date with these things because like the features are just rolling out way too fast. So the one cool thing was around, again, under the theme of like collaboration and like developer experience, is workspaces. So they released workspaces like at the back end of last year, but now you have the ability to share workspaces and kind of create this collaborative experience. And have this collaborative experience with your work colleagues that kind of extends some of the other work they've done with like Git and Git integration. So, Snowflake's tooling is becoming like cool. So like tooling is really becoming like a first class part of Snowflake's kind of strategy. So workplace or workspace collaboration is really cool. The next cool feature to go and look out for is notebooks. If you've used Snowflake before, notebooks were kind of a separate like area that you went to. They're now integrated into those workspaces. So you can have your SQL code, you can have your notebooks all inside this workspace environment, and again, collaborate with work colleagues. And that kind of builds or gives you the capabilities then to take advantage of Cortex code. So this is really cool. So most of us have been vibe coding by copying stuff, going over to ChatGPT or VS Code or Cursor or something else, asking it loads of questions and copying it back again. Now you've got your own agent essentially that's going to sit next to you inside of your workspace that can help you do all sorts of different things. So it can do admin tasks for you. It can do data analysis. It can do kind of agentic workflows, data engineering. It can help you with like data science workloads. It knows SQL, it knows Python, it knows DBT. And if you use the command line interface, you can plug it into other applications on your desktop. So you can plug it into VS Code, give it access to your actual network, to folders on your local machine or in your network. So it's very, very cool how they're integrating all these tools and definitely changing the way in which you do development. We've had a small play around with it. And yeah, personally, I feel quite threatened. So on the same note, so part of that Cortex code is what they're calling agentic ML. So if you're not a data scientist like me, but I know there are data scientists in the room, here you have your true co-pilot where you can give it really nice, clear instructions in your language, the language of data science, and it will go away and it will actually develop all those kind of Python scripts for you. It will develop all of the table structures that you need to actually run and train your models, help you with deployment. So definitely a great little sidekick. Or if you're not a data scientist like me, a great place to start learning data science. Still on the same theme of like code and developer kind of tools is semantic views, which were released like the second half of last year, but now autopilot. So essentially using a whole load of metadata within your environment to basically build those semantic views to enable you to put those into your chat experiences like Snowflake Intelligence. And again, just shortening the development time. So you're really using a whole load of metadata, a whole load of knowledge around your data inside of Snowflake to give you that first pass of a really cool semantic view that you can then go and share. But keep this in mind because there's another reference to semantic views a little bit later. Interactive workloads. So these were released, essentially they're interactive tables and interactive warehouses. So a specific table type and a specific warehouse type, really designed around high concurrency, low latency workloads. So the specific kind of use case that they've been demoing is around where you have kind of almost streaming data and you want to score that data using like machine learning algorithms that you've gone and deployed. So really, really smart. Like I said, really low latency. They're designed for high levels of throughput, much more efficient than the traditional warehouses. So the other part of that is the real-time models. So cool, you can go and use your agentic agent ML to build those Snowflake machine learning models, deploy them, and then using those dynamic warehouses, you can actually then take advantage of them in production workloads. Another cool feature is in Snowflake Intelligence. So anyone who's used Snowflake Intelligence, it's like ChatGPT for artifacts. Yes, cool. It's oh, that's going to be one of the questions later on. Anyway, where did Doug make a spelling mistake? Cool. So if you've used Snowflake Intelligence, you can ask it questions and it will generate you like insights. So they've improved the insights that are being returned. You get like a much, much deeper set of kind of like, what do you want to call it, like feedback. The cool thing is you can save that as an artifact and then you can go and share it with someone else. So again, now you can start to collaborate on your chat experience. You can share the results of that interaction with Snowflake Intelligence with your colleagues. Cool. I mentioned the semantic views earlier on. So open semantic interchange, this was an announcement some time ago, but what's really interesting about this is it's an open standard for creating semantic models. So there are a whole load of different people that have contributed to this. So Snowflake's kind of leading this. There's Salesforce, there's DBT, there's Tableau. But essentially, you define that semantic model, that layer between your kind of data warehouse and your kind of BI tools. And you can now share that across multiple different tools. So you can plug that into tools like Power BI, Tableau. And so you're basically creating this first party kind of semantic model that you can now access various different data sources. So if you've got data in Microsoft or Google, you'll be able to use this one semantic model to basically connect to various different data sources. And what I have seen is the ability to actually share these and actually enable these in the marketplace as well. So you can give people access to basically install this in their own environment. So some really cool stuff coming out of Build. Hopefully we'll get to unpack some of these things in some demos and stuff. We'll see people using this throughout the year. So if you want to go and watch that whole keynote and see like a little bit more detail and some demos from their guru, Dash, then scan the QR code. It's about an hour and 20 minutes long. It's definitely worth a peek. There's a lot more announcements than I've shared with you here. And with that, I'm going to hand over to Quinton now, who's going to talk to us about optimizing decision science with Bash. So before he jumps up, I'm going to give him a little intro. So by his own account, he lives and breathes decision science. He's quite a smart guy with a PhD in industrial engineering. He's got 15 years of experience delivering solutions. Let me get my, where's my cursor gone? Bear with me. There we go. He specializes in solving complex, messy, real-world problems using optimization, simulation, and advanced analytics to drive smarter decisions at scale. He's led R&D programs that deliver across major projects, both in the public and private sector. So he really cares about turning data into better decisions. So I'd like you to give a really warm welcome to Quinton, who's going to talk to us about optimization and decision science at Bash. Thanks. Move this out of the way for you. Cool. You've been helpful so much. Let's see. In case I want to use that laser. Okay, great stuff. Fantastic. Thank you so much for the introduction and welcome, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. Thank you for everyone who's here today as well, and for everyone online. Let's get this on the road. It's not working. Fantastic. So let's start off with this. Who of you have ever found yourself in a situation at work where you wanted to prove a point, but you didn't have the data to actually do so?
Any hands? Only 3, 4, 5. Okay. And who of you thought of actually making up the data to prove your point? Yeah, I see some guilty faces. Yeah, don't do it. Yeah, great stuff. Awesome. So in today's talk, I'll be introducing you to Bash. Then we'll chat a bit about the data maturity journey, like as a concept. I'll then go into the data maturity journey at Bash and also where decision systems fit into the bigger picture. And then I'll be sharing 3 case studies, so relating to retail and supply chain optimization, with a little bit of a focus to show where Snowflake fits into our tech stack. So if you haven't made the connection yet, I'm Quinton. I started my career as an industrial engineer and a transport modeler. And then I spent a decade at the CSIR, or the Council for Scientific and Industrial Research, in 2 different research groups. And like 2 highlights from my tenure there were that we standardized the public transport data for, or standardized data for public transport services in the whole of Gauteng, got that onto Google Maps so that you can actually route using public transport. And the other one was that we developed the first cloud-based urban growth simulation model for Africa, which was also quite a neat thing. Then I moved over into enhanced supply chain solutions as data science and engineering lead, where we developed numerous data pipelines and optimization models. And then I joined Bash as firstly in the supply chain optimization team, and more recently leading the optimization and decision science team. But a little bit more about that later. And Douglas already told you about my PhD. I developed algorithms that autonomously steer simulations towards some goal or some outcome that you want to achieve. That's first enough about me. Let's chat a bit about Bash. So let's look at this video of last financial year introduction, and then I'll continue.
We've launched Bash. More in your pockets, built to change how South Africans shop. Today, it's more than an app. It's a growth engine, service layer, and a platform powering performance across TFG. This year, we've scaled without adding stores. Bash delivered 2.1 billion rand in revenue, the digital equivalent of 195 stores. That's 64 new retail endpoints, added with no leases, no build-out, no inventory risk. With scale, we deepened customer experiences. Online customer sentiment reached 90%, and customer retention increased by 26% in just 13 months. We delivered even more. Bash delivery now handles over a third of all parcels, 1.5 million per year. It's 34% cheaper than third-party couriers. And 59% of orders arrive in under 48 hours. Better service at lower cost. This year, we made checkout simpler, easier, faster. With Apple, Google, and Samsung Pay and Bash Pay in-store, checkout now takes just 5 seconds. This is just one deployment rolled out instantly to every customer, like adding a floor to every store without laying a brick. Our in-store technology enables stores to sell more than what's on the floor, connecting our customers to our full assortment in real time from inside the store. In just 18 months, it's gone from a proof of concept to a high-growth engine, with projected sales this year of 350 million rand from 1,800 stores across the country and a return on investment of 215%. AI is powering how we scale, from the shopping experience to post-purchase support. Our assistant shopping agent, Clarity, delivered a 3.3% revenue lift with 17.9 times return. Our customer support agent, Baxter, now handles returns end-to-end with human touchpoints. It's scale that's intelligent, not just automated. Beneath the surface, we've built new omnichannel infrastructure that will power TFG into the future. OmniPlus puts real-time data in the hands of our store teams, turning insights into impact. From in-store to app to desktop, your cart now moves with you across all channels. And we redefined brand reach, hitting 8.1 million app downloads and 1 million followers on TikTok, making Bash the first South African retailer to exceed 1 million on TikTok. while Bash also drove 48% of incremental South African retail turnover. This year was all about margin multiplied. Each incremental rand delivered 25 cents in profit, and we avoided 1 billion rand in store capex and tied up stock. Bash isn't just lean, it's leveraged. What's more, we've exceeded expectations by reaching break-even 2 years ahead of forecast, proving that we're more than a mall in your pockets. We're TFG's omni-channel engine, powering over 3,500 stores, more than 20 iconic brands. Together, we're building the future of TFG with a platform built for connected omni-channel experiences. Retail is entering a new era. And this is just the beginning.
Okay, great. So you have probably heard of the Foschini Group, or TFG for short, and you can think of Bash as the digital glow-up of TFG, with more than 32 store brands, more than 180,000 styles scattered across 3,500 stores across the country. We have more than 20 million active customers and is the #1 fashion and lifestyle app. Bash today comprises many different products to truly deliver an omni-channel experience. And what that means is just that you can shop in-store and online using various different mechanisms. So we have the Bash website and app. We've integrated with various payment platforms. We have a wallet. We have our own courier called Bash Delivery. We have Bash Collect, where you can choose from 1,300 pickup points across the country. There's a stock locator where you can see where stock is available near you. We have Bash Store. So if you're shopping in store, but you cannot find an item, then you can right there and then order the product online and have it delivered for you. And then Omni Plus is an interesting one because this is our staff-facing application that provides real-time data to staff. And why it's interesting is that the minimal viable product was actually built using the Snowflake API, which is cool because you don't have to build a bespoke service or API to test or to provide like a proof of concept before rolling out the actual product. It's also important to note that Snowflake, or data in Snowflake, has driven the decisions around like product rollout and strategic decision making for Bash over the past few years. And as we grow in the volume and transactions that we have to process and more products and systems that come or become part of our ecosystem, Snowflake will remain that single source of truth for us to make data-driven decisions with. So going over into data maturity, why do we care? Why should we care about data maturity? It's not all about just tech or fancy tech stacks, right? We care about data maturity because it really takes us from gut feelings to evidence-based decision making. It helps us to automate those tardy and manual processes. It also helps us to uncover behavioral insights of everything that's going on around us. And it also helps us to future-proof ourselves or the organizations then, especially in today's age of advanced analytics, machine learning, and AI. And I believe the Dell data maturity model helps us to navigate this, going from like data awareness all the way through to being data-driven as an organization. So if we start off in the data awareness side, here it's all about like starting to capture data and starting to report on something, like measure something and report on it, some metric, and start standardizing the way in which you report. Then moving over into data proficiency, it's all about setting standards across the business. So starting to standardize how you report on things across the business. And here it's typically using business intelligence platforms, for instance. Then moving over into being data savvy, it's all about using data to make critical decisions in the organization. And then finally, when you start to embed data into all your business processes, you become truly, truly data-driven. And here the goal is obviously to scale and to reduce costs. So the Bash data maturity journey started way before my time at Bash. The TFG labs were founded in 2021 and Bash was launched in 2023. And the head of data had a vision from the start to develop a data platform, not only reporting and dashboards, but actually a platform. And also acknowledging that a modern data platform is what's required to really scale and grow with Bash over the years. And the way in which this was then developed was to put in place proper foundations to then be able to expand into advanced capabilities eventually. So starting off with things like good practices like putting in place version control using Git, doing proper documentation, so using tools like the data build tool, or DBT for short, then going over into orchestration of your data pipelines. And once you have that in place, starting to monitor your pipelines, going over into continuous integration and continuous delivery of your pipelines. Also distinguishing between different environments, making sure you have like a development, staging, and production environment that you can work with. And that then naturally leads into things like doing proper incident monitoring. So when things go wrong or there are incidents, that you can actually recover quickly and get back up and running as quickly as possible, and that you can just manage that properly as well. Over into things like data cataloging, data governance, cost management, and then getting to all these advanced capabilities like unlocking the semantic layer and getting rapid deployment of data science models and machine learning models out, and truly starting to embed analytics in everything that we do. We often see that data teams tend to kind of develop solutions and products, sometimes in isolation, and sometimes even gatekeep like the products that they develop. So, you know, if you want to change on one of those graphs that you really need to be made, then you put it on someone's backlog, and like three weeks later, they haven't even gotten to it because only they can make that update, that kind of thing. But at Bash, our data team really pride themselves with developing capabilities with which the rest of us can actually go and help ourselves. And this is really powerful to make decisions with. But as you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And that is where decision systems then fit in. So having access to a lot of data is great, of course, but making decisions with that data could be complex. And this, the different types of analytics actually help us just to navigate that complexity, because it gives us different lenses with which to look at problems, right? So if we start off at the bottom with descriptive analytics helps us to understand what happened. Then we go over into diagnostic analytics to try and understand why did whatever happened, why did that happen? We go over into predictive analytics to try and understand what could potentially happen in the future. Then we have prescriptive analytics that helps us to understand like what kind of decisions can we make given the scenarios that could potentially play out. And then finally, we get to cognitive analytics, which is an interesting one because this is typically where self-learning and self-adaptation comes into play, and where the whole AI part also comes into play. So as we move from hindsight to insight and then to foresight and autonomy, the human input into the decisions become less, and the realized value that you get out of it becomes more. So at Bash, we decided to centralize an optimization and decision science capability with the aim of doing data-driven decision-making across the business and really enhancing the speed and accuracy and efficiency with which we make decisions across the business. So our team typically provides decision support when it comes to like complexity or uncertain environments, or when there's resource constraints. And the way in which we do this then is to leverage the stellar data foundations that the data team has delivered thus far, like I've already mentioned earlier, and also to use the tools of the automation team, to use the infrastructure of the SRE and engineering teams, and then to partner with different departments within Bash so that we can rapidly roll out solutions with which to make decisions at scale. Yeah.
Just a question, what's stellar data?
As in very good data foundations. Yeah. Sure. Cool. That brings us to case studies. So I'm going to present 3 case studies on retail and supply chain optimization. And these are specific projects that my team is involved in. And I'll be breaking them down like in terms of a challenge and then a solution and then value, and be showing a little bit about the tech stack that drives these solutions as well. And yeah, the first one is around customer intelligence. So the challenge is that some customers only buy once, or they just stop buying all of a sudden, right? And then generic marketing campaigns typically result in lower loyalty and engagement. So the solution that we came up with was a combination of feature engineering, which we'll touch on in a bit, churn risk scoring, and cohort classification. And this allows us then to do very precision targeting with unique retention and acquisition strategies. And the value that this delivers is that we can actually focus our marketing, because budget isn't unlimited, to spend so we can focus this marketing spend to reduce the customer attrition. If we take a look at those different types of analytics that we've spoken about earlier, we can apply it to this specific problem. So if we start off with descriptive analytics, we can try to answer the question, so what is the current churn rate? So it's just like we have customers that buy, how many of them buy only once and then stop buying? Okay, so you come up with some measure, and that's great, but so what? So the next question then that we're trying to answer is, why are the customers actually churning? In this case, the goal is to detect then the underlying reasons for why they may actually churn, or why we can actually retain them. So you can look at it from both angles. And here there's a lot more data that you require, not only your orders per customer, but you need like order details and payment details and customer details, so that you can build a behavioral model and that you can do feature importance with, so that you can rank your features that influence whether a customer actually churns or is retained. Oh, shucks, that was my foot. There we go. We're back. Update and restart ChatGPT. Maybe later. That's a question on. Okay, hold on. I just need to update quickly. Great. If we move over then into predictive and prescriptive analytics, that's where the real magic actually happens. So here we want to combine the two so that we can try and answer the question, what are the chances that a customer may churn in the future? And then what can we actually try to do to make that not happen? And the way in which we do that is a combination of several techniques. So firstly, we need to calculate like a customer churn risk score, which involves machine learning techniques. And then we run campaigns, or no, first we actually cluster our customers in terms of behavior. And then we run marketing campaigns against those clusters. We do A/B testing to see which of those marketing campaigns work the best for a particular cohort or cluster. And that can then feed back into our models. And that's where the cognitive analytics part fits in, to eventually auto update the campaigns that you run as you figure out like which campaigns are more work better for which cohorts. So if it comes to the tech stack that drives this, I want to run through this from the left-hand side. Yeah, that's great. So first of all, if we start off with base data in Snowflake, scattered across different data tables, and then we use DBT, or the data build tool, to compile these different data sets into a final base data set that we can use. That then feeds into machine learning models. And maybe I'll just quickly pause here. So we are experimenting with both Snowflake ML and Kubeflow currently. I think the cool thing about Snowflake ML, and was on one of Douglas's slides as well, is that you can actually have all of your base data, your feature store, your actual machine learning model, your model registry with different versions, all living within Snowflake. And then you can run inference in Snowflake as well. And you can actually run inference using SQL queries, which is actually quite cool. And then your models can run on Snowflake containers as well. So you can literally build your whole machine learning pipeline within the Snowflake environment, which makes it very powerful. And then on the other hand, Kubeflow is again very compatible with Kubernetes. So it comes down to what kind of infrastructure and support you have available at your organization. We are experimenting with both and haven't quite decided yet which one we're going to use. But our machine learning models then churn out different things for us. The first one is those churn reasons that we spoke about. We also have different customer segmentations or clusters and a churn like risk score. We combine these scores with other scores of our customers at the top to build like a complete profile of our customers against which we then run those marketing campaigns that I spoke about. We then export the results using a tool called Mage AI back into Snowflake. And then we use, again, dbt to convert the results into analytics-ready data, which we can also surface in a business intelligence tool, in our case, Click. And then we also built an interactive analysis dashboard in Streamlit, which you can also deploy directly into Snowflake. And this is really cool because as we develop our solutions, we can rapidly disseminate information to the rest of the organization and to our peers around like findings and make sure that we can disseminate that before like building out the final product. It also helps us to like track customer journeys over time. Cool. Let's do this. Great. The second case study that I want to touch on is around network balancing. So here the challenge is that dead stock sometimes sits in low demand stores while high demand stores lose sales due to stock unavailability. So the solution here is to do inventory balancing across the network using a combination of forecasting and linear programming. And then the value is that it improves sell-through, maximize clearance of stock, and minimizes markdowns. So the tech stack that drives this solution, first of all, we start off with Retool, and maybe I'll pause there again. So Retool is a low-code user interface with which you can create interfaces, and it interacts with any data source and API, really, which makes it a really powerful tool to use in combination with Snowflake. You can also feed data back into Snowflake using Retool. So the way in which we use it for this particular solution is that we use it to configure the parameters for an optimization model. We then have our base data in Snowflake, and then again, we use Mage AI as our orchestration tool. So it will ingest the data from Snowflake, do data transformations, run a forecasting model, run an optimization model, and then this spits out for us suggested movements of stock between branches, or what they call inter-branch transfers, or IBT for short. The user then sees all those suggestions, and we work closely with the brands then, and they can then action those IBTs. And as they get actioned, we can track the movements of the stock as well as how well they perform, both in the original and the new location. Using, well, dbt again and Snowflake, and then we track metrics like sell-through rate and margin, etc. And what we've seen is that in the 4 weeks before an IBT was generated, typically stock on hand cleared with about only 22%. And then in the 4 months after actioning the IBTs, there's a major uplift to 48% of stock being cleared, which is quite remarkable. Okay, great. So the third case study is around promise dates. And here, our customer promise is a bit mediocre at this stage, let's be honest. We currently only show a very vague 3 to 5 delivery days to our customers. So as soon as you order, if you're seeing checkout, you can expect your order in 3 to 5 working days. But this is really very conservative. We typically deliver like in about 2 to 3 days normally. So without any operational changes, Bash could confidently promise more appealing delivery dates to the majority of our customers. We are also quite behind our competitors when it comes to providing different shipping options to our customers so that you can actually choose how and when you want your orders to be delivered. So to summarize all of that into a case study, the challenge is that because of our vague delivery dates, we get a lot of where's my parcel contact with our customer support. And we also get a lot of failed first deliveries because people aren't expecting their deliveries on the day that we actually told them you can expect it, or that delivery date is not correct. So the solution here is a planning service with a real-time view of our entire logistics network. And then coupled to that, an allocation algorithm that optimizes for cost, time, and customer experience. And the value that this unlocks is that we can do optimal allocation, which will decrease our cost per parcel, but it will also allow us to communicate more accurate promise dates to our customers, which will increase conversion, and then it will decrease our customer service contacts and also decrease failed first delivery attempts. So currently we process around 10,000 orders a day. That translates to about 100,000 parcels a week. We fulfill from 5 distribution centers, around 360 stores. We make use of 6 couriers. We have 5 hubs. And there are various ways in which you can then route the parcels from the fulfillment centers to the final destination. So one option is via middle mile from the fulfillment center to your hub. Another option is a direct mile directly to the customer. And then if it was via middle mile to the hub, there's also a last mile component, again, to the final delivery address. Like I mentioned earlier, we have 1,300 pickup points, and we also have thousands of addresses that we need to deliver to. So with multiple stakeholders and points of contact, predicting accurate delivery dates is quite hard. So how do we do it? I'm not going to tell you. No, I'm kidding. The tech stack that drives this solution is, like I mentioned, a planning service. It's an event-driven planning service. And here the role that Snowflake plays is that it contains all the master data that we feed or seed into our planning service into a graph database. We also have travel time predictions that get fed into our planning service. And then as the order progresses through its life cycle, so you place your order, the order gets packed, the courier collects it from the store, it gets delivered to the hub, and it's out for delivery again. So as each of those events take place, we process that through our planning service, and we can then calculate both service level agreements, and we can calculate promise dates or accurate promise dates that we can communicate to the customer. As we make these updates and continually process these updates, we publish all of those plans onto a Kafka topic, and that gets loaded into Snowflake again with what's called a data sync. And then using dbt again, that gets converted into analytics ready data so that you can do things like planned versus actual, the accuracy of the delivery dates that we calculated, SLA compliance, those kind of things. So maybe to point out here is just that in this particular instance, Snowflake isn't really suited as our central engine, I want to say. But it still has a use for us in the other areas that I've shown on the slide. Great, some final thoughts. So solid data foundations and data maturity unlocks advanced analytics. It also speeds up the development process, and it facilitates the adoption of AI. A single technology can play diverse roles across different solutions. And remember, an if statement in production that delivers business value is better than a neural net on your laptop that was never deployed. So deploy or it didn't happen. Great, thank you. Are we taking questions from
I'm very impressed with your impact slides when you show the results of the models. If they've signed it or managed it takes quite a while before we can see the results. And what are the business buying skills on part of that process, George, to get people to just know that it's going to be a 1 year or kind of long entry?
Normally, the process that we follow is that there would be some sort of business case that first gets written for approval, and then we only start with the project. And within that already, you need to give some kind of indication, like what is the expected value that you would get out of it. So we spend quite a bit of time going and analyzing the problem and coming up with like numbers to say that maybe even just looking at research. So looking at promise dates, for instance, there's proper research on what the uplift in conversion could be if you have accurate promise dates. So based on like that research, versus as well as some analysis that we do with the data that we have available, we then present a business case, and that gets buy-in. Maybe something else to point out is that we try to very early in the process already show value. So we would very typically, like I showed with the Streamlit app, for instance, we would start showing results very quickly without that living in our Click environment already. It's not there yet, but we're building a quick and easy dashboard in Streamlit with which we can show the results quickly as we develop to kind of prove the concept as we go along as well.
Question online.
Yep.
Cool. KK, I think you can ask. No.
Oh, hey, Douglas, how are you?
Good, good.
Oh, great. So my question is around cost efficiency for running your workload. How do you ensure that your workload doesn't necessarily consume a lot of cost? Because I see you using multiple tools to complete your workloads. How do you make sure that it doesn't increase in cost?
Yep, that's a great question. Cool. That's a great question. The mountains are doing their job today. Great. Third time, that's a great question. The question was, how do you manage your cost of your infrastructure that you use while you're developing? Because we use a variety of different tools. So the quick and dirty answer is typically like what you do when you run SQL queries. You put a limit on the amount of data that you return so that you don't return a whole data set while you're busy with one little piece of SQL query. So the same thing kind of applies in the way in which we develop our models. We would typically use either smaller amounts of data or mock data and try to run much smaller workloads while we are developing that. So once you gain confidence in what you've developed, you start rolling that out into your other environments. So I talked earlier about having like a development and staging and production environment. Those environments are all provisioned with different types of resources. So our development and staging environments would typically be much smaller, so that it's not as costly. And then we again do some kind of cost analysis so that we can determine if we run this thing on a highly available Kubernetes cluster, it's going to cost this much to run it. Does it actually make sense? And is the value we're going to get out of the solution, like, does it justify that cost? Or can we maybe get away with running the model in a slightly different way using Mage AI, for instance, like I showed in one of the other examples, where you can also run a Python model, but maybe just at a smaller scale. So that's typically how we go about thinking of it.
Okay, I got you. So most of the services, do you run them on the cloud or you run them locally?
Yes. Yes. We sometimes start locally while developing. So, and then they do run in the cloud. And that relates to what I mentioned earlier around a modern data platform, which is like cloud-based platform of all your tools around your data stack.
Okay, no, makes sense. Got you. Thank you.
Cool. Any other questions?
study 3, you have 3 objectives, 4 objective functions, cost, time, and then customer satisfaction.
So the question is around case study 3, which has 3 objective functions: cost, time, and customer. Was it customer satisfaction? Should I call it something else? Let's just check customer experience. So the way in which we define customer experience is that, do you get like the options that you would typically want while you shop? So are you a satisfied customer, and what's your experience like? So what I mean here by customer experience is we want to build towards providing you with different shipping options, so that if you shop, you can say, I want this item to be delivered to my house in 2 days, and I want this item and I'll pick it up from that store in 5 days. Or just I want all of my parcels to arrive at the same time, instead of getting everything as soon as possible. So that's what we try and optimize for if we say customer experience. Does that answer your question?
With another online question.
Okay, then we'll come to you next. Online.
Yes, so I have a question. So you've got one of your case studies where you're doing forecasting and you used Python for the data transformation. I just wanted to know, like, is it possible to do like the same thing, like do your data transformation maybe in a ETL process on Snowflake as well?
Yep. Yeah.
Also, okay, so for this case study, I just wanted to know why you went with the Python. Was it because of the costs?
Actually, in this case, it was how we developed the solution initially. So we developed in Python, got that deployed onto Mage AI. Sorry, the questions. Apologies. The question was, why did we do our transformation in Python, and can you do it earlier, like using an ETL tool, earlier in the process? So in our case, we started off with the Python development and we got that deployed onto Mage AI, which is the orchestrator. So it was just easier to actually do everything in there. But we are actually in the process of implementing, like I showed in one of the other case studies, so implementing in dbt, doing all the data transformations beforehand and just ingesting what you need at the point where you need it. So yes, it's very possible. And you also don't even need to use that necessarily. If you're using some other ETL tool like Matillion or whatever other tool is available for you, you can use that as well.
Okay, thank you.
At the back.
Yeah, so first of all, I just wanted to say it's awesome work. This third case, I'm not sure if it was me, but if you quite get it, so apologies if it's asking some minutes already from given it. But did you manage to kind of like get to a point where you could get to like a more accurate estimate? Or was that just like something you're still working on? Like it's 3 to 5 days, like if someone really at Amazon, you'd be like, it's not really like very accurate. So I'm just wondering if and close it off, or say all of that.
Sure. The question was just around like for case study 3, do we already see like value or better promise dates or more accurate promise dates, and like what the effects thereof are? So this one is in progress, but I can tell you that like the accuracy of our like customer promise that we will be communicating actually quite soon is fairly good. We're talking about 90% accurate. So, and then the 3 to 5 days that I was mentioning is around how long we communicate for you to wait for your parcel to arrive. But what promise dates will do is it will give you an actual date. It will tell you you can expect your parcel in 2 days or in 5 days. So it might be different, like a different lead time, but it will be an actual date.
That will like update as the time goes by real time.
Yes, it does.
Is that not knowing?
Yes.
I was connected again.
Yes, absolutely. So the question is, does it update like as your parcel progresses through its life cycle? Yes, it does. Just do this slide. So these milestone events that I've listed here, So what we typically do is at the start, when you place your order, we will calculate an initial date. And then as your parcel goes through its life cycle, we will continuously see, can we still manage that? And if we can't, it helps us to actually intervene early on so that we can either expedite it or manage the expectation and try and get it to you on the date that we promised. And if it really isn't possible to, at the very least, communicate so that you know.
I'm just wondering, just thinking off the cuff here, but it's almost like sometimes people's calendars are so busy. I'm wondering if they're thinking about even giving the choice to the customer, finding, like imagine they plan their calendar to be available on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
And now we say, oh, we're going to do good news.
Yes.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
It's
So
good news necessarily.
yes. Yes.
If that's been baked into like the final solution as well.
Yep. So here at the bottom, I was talking about, well, I wasn't talking about it, I just showed it, but shipping options. Question just for the online audience is around like, so if the date changes, or like, do we think about providing customers with the ability to choose a date because you may not be available on the date that's communicated? And yes, that's where shipping options then fit in. So that's like the natural next step. We firstly communicate accurate delivery dates, then we provide you with options to choose from.
Got one question.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm about to digress a bit, but then I'm a honors graduate in logistics management. So I have two questions. The first one is, do you guys have any internship available currently? And then the second question is, do you have any advice on how to further my skills in terms of understanding like data analytics and AI? Thank you.
Great. The questions are around whether we have internships available and how to increase one's skills in analytics and so on. For the first question, drop me an email and I'll put you in touch with our HR department, which would be able to communicate to you like opportunities that are available. I personally cannot tell you what is available. And then for upskilling, there's a lot of resources online, but I would also really, really encourage you to make use of AI currently. It's an excellent way to actually upskill oneself. So asking an AI to assist you with going through like a learning program, I want to say. And it's amazing to see, like one of my colleagues literally did this the other day where we needed to onboard him onto work that I did. And I literally just gave him access to the code. He asked AI to write the whole tutorial for him. And like within a day, he was up and running. So he was up and running. And the AI gave him like everything he needed to know about the work that I did. So it's a really powerful way to learn. Yes,
Thank you.
question here.
In the public space, maybe when the case study to share in terms of how it can help the government to on resource allocation, risk assessment, or public security. Do you have, has there been a case study or any insights on that?
We can chat about that. I mean, we can get to but there's lots of case studies. I can't recall one that's right now, but if you have one probably case studies, like Martin Klein, that's just one.
Okay, thanks.
Great.
Cool.
Thank you.
Oh, so many questions. I'm not sure if you guys are going to remember what all was in all the slides, but it's that time of the day. It's quiz time. Cool. If you've never been to one of our user groups before, I'm going to start this Slido. Cool. You need to take a scan of that QR code and you'll be entered into the quiz. Okay, that's a great photo. You can do this at home as well, and we'll try to ship our stuff to you via Bash. It'll be optimized. It'll come to you in 2 days. Cool. Oh, so the first question, it's not a trick question. Yelene, we'll come to you. No. The first question is we've mixed it up, so don't want to confuse you. So the first question in the survey is, where would be the most convenient location for you to attend the user group? I'm happy to come to your house, Yelene. Yeah, cool.
That can be, this one doesn't sound the point.
So cool. Lots of people want to come to Cape Town, Durbanville. Any of you guys in Joburg, Santon, I see. Cool. Mavericks, happy days, brilliant. Constantia, Rondebosch. It seems like Cape Town Central is still the favoured location. Okay. Cool. Cool. There's 48 people in the 49. I'll give you guys a couple more minutes to join. Cool. Let me describe the rules of the game. There are 8 questions. The 8 questions are across the whole of today's presentation, just to see how much you were remembering, how much you were taking in. You get rewarded for speed and accuracy. Okay. Each question you're going to get 15 seconds. Most of them are just one answer. I'll tell you which ones have got multiple answers, so you can guess effectively. And then at the end of it, we have like some seriously cool merch. Oh, best merch. For those of you that like to hydrate, and I'm just going to show the guys online. There we go. We've got some liquid snow for you. Okay. Stainless steel. Cool. All right. Are you guys ready then? Fingers at the ready. Halfway through, I will reveal the leaderboard. We've got some very competitive people in here. Yelene was our last winner. She's wearing the t-shirt as evidence. Okay, here we go. First question. Join the quiz. Okay, cool.
Now it's on for that.
Oh, hang on a second. Let me let you join the quiz first. There are lots of people. Here we go. Okay, you ready? First question. How many user groups are we planning to run this year? They're not all this easy. It's just a warmer-upper. 15 seconds is quite long. Okay, let's see. For those of you who didn't choose 10, where were you? Cool. Cool, we are running 10 events this year. That's the ambition. Cool, question number 2. When are data for breakfast? There's 2 dates that we shared with you, one in Cape Town, one in Joburg. On what dates are they? Cool, 92% went for the 24th and 26th. Are they right? They are. Well done. Cool. Question number 3. Which feature was introduced to improve developer workflows inside of Snowflake? I'm trying to make it easy. Okay, let's see. You're 79% of you said Cortex Code. You are right. Okay, question 4, and then we're going to see where we are. Who's leading the pack? Question 4. Which of the following relate to Snowflake's AI ML evolution shared of build? Interactive workloads, online ML, Snowflake intelligent artifacts, or open semantic model? Multiple choice. Okay, and the winner is, it's all 4 of them. Separating the team. Let's see where we're at. Cool. Well done, Francesca. Aline, you've got competition. Okay, here we go. Cool. This the home stretch. Okay, everything to play for. In what year was Bash launched? It was in the video. You said 2023. You are right. Okay. Question number 6. Operations research is primarily about just one option. Okay. Let's see. There we go. People were listening. Well done. Making better decisions. Oh, question number 7, the penultimate question. What was the key problem solved in the inventory balancing case study? Too much AI? Dead stock in low demand stores? Warehouses were too small? Or too many SKUs? 100% of you were listening and 100% of you were right. Okay, here we go. The final question, and we'll reveal who is the first winner of the user group quiz for 2026. Which of the following tools multiple choice as part of Dash's decision science analytics tech stack? Yeah. Ooh, let's see. That's right. All of them. Cool. And so to reveal the winner, and the top 3 can come up and grab your prizes. Well done. Jolene, you fell away. You fell away. Cool, guys. And that's everything for this the first user group. The next one's going to be here, Workshop 17. We're going to have our friends from Makuru presenting again. Cool. There's more food and drink outside. Hang around and have a chat.
Can I just one thing?
Oh, yes.
So I'm going to try and curse the powers that be to gift someone who's the biggest groupie of the year or something. So please make sure that you're checked in either with me or Bronwyn is there. We can only nominate you if you've been to like events. So I will not promise anything, but I will lobby hard for a ticket to the summit in San Francisco. Okay. And then, yeah, this is not a rating. Just please will you invite your friends to the group? Or no, or I don't know. Okay, 1, 2, 3, go. There we go. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks very much. Cheers, everyone online.
Okay.
See you next time.
Lots of drinks and food. Yeah, enjoy.
Thank you.